The chapter really centers on how Walgreens was able to gain local approvals for selling beer and wine in its stores in thousands of local communities all around the country. And we really talk about the role that public relations can play in that, in helping pave the way to get those local approvals. And that can entail talking with community groups, government officials, individual local residents, making sure that they understand exactly what it is that we had in mind, and just as importantly, what we didn't have in mind. And by doing a number of different methods, tactics on a very local level, public relations was able to play a really key role in gaining those approvals and paving the way for the business to be able to do something that the business wanted to do. So I think when you look at public relations and try to measure the impact on the business, oftentimes it's very difficult. You're dealing with abstract ideas like reputation and the brand. This was really an instance where PR could really provide and play a direct role in the business and the bottom line of the company by helping it with this very important business initiative. Well, because this was such a local initiative all across the country, we really needed representation from our local management. There's no way that a handful of people from the corporate office could fly around to every community, thousands of communities in the country to attend these local hearings, to talk with residents, with community groups. So one of the big things we did was train our local management, which would be our store managers or our district managers in that area, to be able to come to a public hearing, understand what that process is, because they don't normally go to community hearings like this, and so we had to train them on what to do, what they should talk about, what not to do, what not to talk about, so that that hearing goes smoothly. Another thing we had to do was work with the local media in those areas to make sure that they really understood, again, what we were and were not doing, so that what they were reporting was accurate and we wouldn't get rumors out there or stories out there about things that we didn't have in mind or didn't plan to do. One of the big things was the fear that Walgreens was becoming a liquor store. We were still very much a drugstore. The beer and wine that we were looking to roll out was going to take up less than 5% of our sales floor space, so just a small section of it, and we wanted to make sure that people really understood that too. I think sometimes when you come out of school, you learn so much about the various strategies and the tactics, especially the new tactics, social media, online communications, that we tend to forget the most basic, which is face-to-face communication, and the importance that that type of communication can play in any type of PR issue, but especially something that is very local and entails public hearings, when it really gives you an opportunity to talk with others who are concerned about the issue. The real importance and impact that face-to-face communication can never be diminished, and I think it's always been the most important type of communication, and I think this whole project really reaffirmed that. Okay. One of the important things was reaching out to the media, again, to make sure that they were reporting the issue accurately. We had a situation in Milwaukee where, and we had some initial conversations with the local alderman about putting beer and wine in a store in his area. And it was just meant as just an introductory conversation with him. And after that, the word got out quickly to the main newspaper in Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, about it, and that created some media attention on it, really before we were prepared to have it out there. So we had to move very quickly. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel had come off a series of stories from a couple years ago about the culture of drinking in the state of Wisconsin and related to particularly drunk driving deaths in the state. And the paper was on a bit of a crusade against that. And for us then to come along and want to introduce beer and wine into our stores, we really felt we needed to do everything we could to get the Journal-Sentinel on our side, or at least neutral on the issue, because they could have done a lot to prevent or to sway public opinion against our initiative. So one of the things we did was reach out to them, and we decided to try to have an editorial board meeting with the paper, which we had. It was a bit of a risky move because looking at where the Journal-Sentinel was coming from, they could easily have taken initiative against us. But the conversation went very well with them. We had, again, local people attend with a couple people from our corporate office. Because of the proximity from Chicago, it was easy for us to get up to. It was also a very important market for us, so we thought it was worth the effort to have a few people from corporate supporting our local district management in that meeting. And we had the editorial board meeting with the paper. We got a really great result out of it. They did publish an editorial in support of our initiative. They followed up with their news coverage as the process went on, again with a clear outline of what we were and weren't going to do. And I think we eliminated any potential for any misreporting or rumors to be talked about out in the media. Well, we had targeted about 5,500 stores out of our 7,500 stores to get some type of beer and wine license. And the end result was we had virtually 100% success with that. I'd say it was well over 98%. There were just a handful here and there where we weren't able to get it, but overwhelming success. We put the beer and wine selection very quickly after receiving permits in our stores, and it had a significant impact on our sales as a company too, a very measurable impact. It was contributing about 3/4 of a percentage point to our same-store sales figures, which in retail, a good measure of your sales success is looking at stores that have been open for at least 1 year, because that takes out any impact from just new store growth. So when you look at that comparable same-store sales growth year over year, we were able to attribute about 3/4 of a percentage point of that increase to our beer wine initiative. So it was a very significant contribution to the business. We really wanted to start or to prevent ourselves from starting off a step behind, which, if the rumors get out there that, oh, Walgreens, you're going to be able to buy single can beverages or mini bottles of liquor, those rumors start to get out there, and it just creates more and more opposition, and you're really starting behind the game as a result. So our original plan of going out there was just to have a limited selection of beer and wine, no single servings. We wanted to make sure that our limited selection was understood by the community and prevent a lot of having to address a lot of the wider issues that would come up if people thought that we were going to pretty much have the selection of a full liquor store, which wasn't the case. So by starting off with accurate information, you can move forward very quickly with that approval process versus spending a lot of time and energy just debunking the myths or the rumors that are out there, and you can't get to the real issue at hand. So it helps to make the process much smoother and much quicker. Public relations can really play a key role in a lot of initiatives with the business. And I had mentioned before that so much of the time we do with soft areas of reputation and brand management. There are cases, though, that come up where you can have a direct, significant impact on the business. And that's what we're able to do in this case is move the business forward and be able to contribute to the bottom line of the business. There is potential for public relations in a lot of areas to do that in a very direct fashion, and you don't always have to deal with the softer issues of just brand management, reputation management, which are always going to be key roles in any PR department, but you do have those opportunities to have a direct contribution to the bottom line.